Welcome to Flute Tip of the Week. Today's video is coming a little bit later than normal, still on a Monday for my North Americans. But yeah, so Saturday night I ended up staying up until about 4 in the morning, finishing writing this orchestral piece that is going to be starting rehearsals next week and then performance on the 20th, so that's going to be really, really cool. But yeah, that is the first all-nighter I've pulled since I had my last history essay in my second year of undergrad. So I would have done the filming yesterday as normal, however, I was not quite there. I may have spent the day using a coloring book to be able to turn my brain off for a little bit. Enough about me, let's get to the flute. Imagine that your breath, your phrasing, your articulation, anything that you're doing on the flute or musically is being pulled out of you rather than pushed. This is something I call the Taffy Puller. For those of you who don't know, I know a lot of British people don't actually know what taffy is. The way that taffy is stretched is you put a part of it over a hook and then you continue to pull it and stretch it out. I think I thought of this one when I was about 18 or 19. I was watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I saw the way that things were being produced was by being pulled and not pushed, and I thought that could actually relate very well to music. If you think about it, as soon as you think of the action of pushing, even if you're thinking about it and you're not actually about to push something, automatically your muscles are going to start to strain, they're going to flex, and they're going to be thinking, okay, ready to go, ready to push that out. And it's seen more as an exercise of stress and power rather than of control. Pulling is more welcoming in a way, I guess. Because if you're thinking about your air being pushed out of you, normally you'll think about using your abdominals and pushing the air out so that you can get a steady sound coming out. However, a really, really helpful way to think about it is if the sound and the air is being pulled from you. This immediately takes the responsibility away from pressure and stress in your muscles and just makes the production more about the result rather than what you're engaging with your muscles. Underneath this, I'll put a link to a photo I'll post on my Instagram account that will be of a taffy puller being used so that you can see what I mean. This isn't a picture that I took, just as a disclaimer already. This is one that I just picked up off of Google. So let's talk about my first example of ways to think about the taffy puller. Let's talk about your airstream. Normally, what you would think is you would think of the pressure in your abdominals, you would think about being able to keep things relaxed and released in your chest and in your shoulders, but mostly you're thinking about the projection and the amount and speed of air that is coming out. Think about the air being pulled from you. Just imagine that someone, could be me, could be Willy Wonka, could be anyone, is standing in front of you and is literally drawing the air out of you. This takes the responsibility of the amount and speed away from you, and it puts a lot more into the final result and the direction of the airstream. Let's think of this now as a musical phrase. I think probably the best way for me to describe this would actually be with just using my voice. I'm gonna say tongue twister. So with tongue twisters, a lot of the problem is going to be getting stuck in the enunciation, the articulation, and the pronunciation. Really, there's a lot going on right here, and with the production of the sound, along with controlling things in our mouth and in our lips, we are adding a lot of extra tension because we're thinking about how strong we need to be able to speak for it to come out. I'm going to use Peter Piper as an example. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? There, I was thinking just about the mechanics of my face, of the letters that are being articulated, and also I was actually getting a little bit freaked out because I was thinking very vertically, and I was just very focused on getting it right. I'm going to say the same tongue twister again, and I'm going to imagine it being pulled from me as if through a taffy puller. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? You can hear a huge difference between the first version of me saying the tongue twister and the taffy puller version. I automatically said it a lot more steadily, my air was actually a lot better supported, and it made everything a lot more clear, and it just simplified everything. I stopped thinking about all the different things that have to be working here, and I thought about it being pulled out and introduced over there. Pretty much anyone will have the same physical reaction to looking at a sheet of music and seeing a lot of black on there, or seeing a lot of ledger lines, and just thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be really, really difficult to get my fingers around. That is already ingrained into our systems, and this is something that we need to battle. For instance, if I'm going to be doing a very, very fast section, like for Chant de Linos, where everything is very, I'm going to be thinking fingers, and that all that has to be very, very exact. But if I'm thinking of the Taffy Puller again, if I'm thinking about the music being pulled through and not being pushed out here, then the same thing that helped my sound and my ability to say that tongue twister will also help the way that my muscles are moving in my hands and fingers. So this tip, I really want you to really try doing various things like saying a tongue twister, especially if you think you're bad at tongue twisters. Just practice it the way you normally would, say one the exact way you normally would, and then do it using your Taffy Puller. So you have the con. Star Trek. So again, that tip was imagine your breathing, phrasing, and articulation being pulled from you rather than pushed. Think about the Taffy Puller. I hope this tip has been helpful to a lot of you. This is something that has helped me personally for many years. It's got a 100% success rate so far. If some of you are just having fun trying out tongue twisters, then go ahead, send me a link to you saying that. Flute happy, and let it pull, don't just push.
Yeah, this is the one I did yesterday after I was really, really tired. But yeah.
Coloring's fun.